Hello, can everyone hear me? Yes? How's that be? Feel better? Perfect. Awesome. So if everyone can, people can come down, sit down, so everyone can see. Firstly, I'd like to welcome everyone here today to commemorate the life of Deb Gillies. Just a quick note, if you did want to say a few words today, please see Darcy and Jade, hands up over there. They'll pop your name down as well if you haven't. For anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Rick, and I have the privilege of working alongside Deb in the transport department at Timber Truss. I spent this week thinking about what to say. I don't know what to say, what stories to tell. Unfortunately, a lot of the stories I've got are probably not appropriate for this setting. But I'd like to share a few quick stories, just probably about Deb's character. Deb did on occasions have an issue with time management, which would often leave her arriving at work just in time, and just in time I mean probably 1 to 5 minutes late every day. The funniest thing was when the stars aligned, Deb would come flying in the door at 6:55, keys, sunglasses on, 3 jackets on, handbag, everything else. She'd then go on for another half an hour to tell everyone about how good she was. She arrived at work early. But little did she realise, about an hour later, she forgot to clock in, so technically she was late anyway. It was useless. That happened on many, many occasions, but it was funny. The second one that really stands out to me, and probably a few clients, drivers will sort of relate to this as well, how she could talk people into things. And what I meant, and very first instance was when I actually drove for Timber Truss. I remember Timber Truss office rang me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, this is unusual, on the way back from site. It was Deb. And Jono's here as well. Jono and Adrian, they didn't ring me, they got Deb to ring me and talked me into doing another delivery at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the way back from site. And I was like, okay, that's no problem, that was unusual, but the way her charisma and how she spoke about it as well, she could talk anyone into anything. Since obviously working with Deb closer, I've heard this with clients as well though. If it's a truck breakdown, deliveries were late, she'd talk to the client, and in the end of the day, it seemed like she was doing them a favour by us running our deliveries late for some reason. It was very, very good. It was amazing how she could talk people into anything. And that really sort of demonstrated the positive relationship she had built with our clients and our drivers as well. It showcased her obviously outgoing personality, her warm nature towards life. These attributes cannot be learnt. She's born with these traits, and she was. What I'd like to do now is read out a letter from Denise, which is Deb's sister. From Denise. Deb was my little sister. And do not forget, big sister is always watching. Brad asked me to write a piece for you all today about my little sis. She was not much different from myself and Deb. We all knew, as an adult, only messier. I was her roommate and babysitter for as long as I can remember. Boy, did we disagree about her housekeeping. I remember Dad, as we had a sister, told us we had a sister at the kitchen table in Akaroa Street in Christchurch on Friday the 21st of September 1962. I was rapt because Ken always wanted a brother, but I got the sister. She was a little chubby, little bubba when she came home, and I was in seventh heaven, my own little sister. It was long before the blood disorder kicked in, and she was back in the hospital, and we were driving to Auckland backwards and forwards to get her spleen removed. That done, the immune system did not work so much, and Deb got meningococcal disease, hospital again. She came home with her head shaved in a mohawk after having the fluid drained from around her brain. She recovered from that and did not have any other major illnesses after that. It was fantastic. Our place had so many parties with Shirley Rugby Club members as honoured guests. Mum and Dad coached, Ken played, and Deb and I assisted the coaches. I was embarrassed about that. Deb would be tagged along behind Dani. She could only say Dani. She could not say Denise, sorry. She could say Dani, and that stuck with me for the last 60 years. Our parents separated when Deb was 5, so she didn't really remember her father that well. Thankfully for her, but Deb had her own trials to face. The partying continued at home into the wee small hours, and Deb enjoyed every minute of it. Singing along, centre of attention, she loved it. Everyone except Deb drank and sang until they could not do it anymore. That was when Deb discovered her love for the good old-fashioned knees up. Deb had a beautiful singing voice and could hold a tune so well. I remember talking her into a singing competition, which she won. She was 11. I was so proud of her. She taught herself how to play piano, and she had a fantastic ear for music. Goodness only knows the number of times I fished her out of the water at Centennial Pool, so I was also a lifesaver for Deb. We all required to leave home when we were 15 and get a job. Not easy to do when you're such a young kid. People wondered why we had our demons. They came from all little bits of us left out. But fast forward to recently, Deb had become good friends with my son Kevin. 2 of her great nephews, County Christian, also send their love. To all the family and friends watching from near and far, kia ora, wanu. To Wendy, Sarah Day, kia ora. Sarah is Deb's goddaughter. What else can I say about our Deb from all your family and friends watching here today? We love you, we miss you, your mischief and your beautiful smile. We're all stunned and heartbroken that you left us too soon. We were all looking forward to more tales of your travels and parties, but also times when we connected quietly with you, walking on the beach or sharing a coffee. And when I say quietly, I mean quieter. You were never quiet little sister. You've got a big personality, big heart, and big voice. Of our little sister, cousin, niece, auntie, great auntie, friend, godmother, and not least of all, our lovely Bradley. And when we finish the formalities, we will raise a glass to you once more for old time's sake. Until we meet again, little sister, love from your big sister, Dani. Next, I'd like to bring up Kevin to say a few words.
This is a party she would have missed. Wow. I didn't really know what I was going to say. I'm not going to say too many funny stories because you guys have got heaps more. But I just wanted to say that, she was my auntie, but Deb was much more than that to me. She was my mum, and she was one of my best friends. And I'm going to miss her so much. Thanks everyone for coming. Thank you a lot to Brad as well for putting this all together. Done a great job. Thanks everyone.
Next, Trevor Lewis.
So I met Deb when I first started Tim Trust 7 years ago. So I'd only been there a couple of months, and I was working in confirmations, and I hadn't met Deb yet. So my first meeting was her storming into the confirmations room, wearing sunnies inside, which I thought was interesting, but she stormed in like a rock star and demanding to know who the bloody hell's Trevor Lewis and why is he fucking with my transport schedule. So I'd made a mistake and I'd moved something I shouldn't have, and I certainly was, I learnt that a valuable lesson then, that Deb was very protective of her schedule and it was her domain. So I then was lucky enough to move out to the cryo office and then spent the next 2 years sitting directly opposite Deb. So our relationship certainly grew from there. It was actually probably 2 of the best years of my working life that I'll never forget, with Deb there, Glenda there, Chatty and Biv sitting there, and we certainly had a lot of fun times, a lot of laughs, a lot of jokes, a lot of shit hanging. We probably set a world record for that actually, and it was so good working with her. Got to really get to know her there and see just what a great workmate she was, just how loyal she was, just how supportive she was of everyone who worked at Timber Trust and the company, how respectful she was to all our builders. Well, over the phone anyway. She'd have quite a few arguments with them and get off the phone and go, well, he's a bloody dickhead, isn't he? But she certainly is just a heart of gold. I think we had what I think a special connection because we were both pretty much smart asses, so we hit it off with that in common. But I think Deb she'd be very humbled by just the support and the respect that she's received in the last couple of weeks, especially from a lot of the Timber Trust clients. I think she just felt she was just a pain in the ass to a lot of them and ordering them around, but it just goes to show just how well she was respected. She certainly knew her stuff, and as Rick said, she could certainly get her way with people. Thinking about Deb over the last couple of weeks, it brings a smile on my face every time, and sadness to my heart, but I think not a bad legacy to have, that if every time you think of someone it makes you laugh, and Deb could certainly do that and lighten up a room. That's what I'll remember about Deb, and really she was a rock star. Glasses on inside, she was an absolute rock star, so you'll be really sadly missed.
Thanks, Rick. Dave, would you like to say a few words?
How you going, everyone? I'm Dave. To Deb I was known as Wilbur, because my name's Dave Wilberforce, but she'd call me like David or Wilberfort or anything and language that I can't really use here, but I was thinking when I first heard, I didn't actually believe it was true type of thing. And I just kept waiting. I go, I can't say nothing to nobody that I know because I don't really know, But yeah, sadly it is true. And I keep thinking of Deb, because Deb used to talk to me like I was a sort of like a little brother type of thing. Like, I've been not well the last couple of days, and I can imagine what she would have said to me, like, get over yourself, Wilberfort, and keep drinking. It's sort of like, she was a lady, but she was right up with it. Didn't matter what sort of slang, she knew it. She was like really into it. And I always think of Deb as like a rough diamond, a person that had a heart of gold, but tell you how it is. I mean, it was bizarre. I worked with her for over 10 years and had contact with her after that because she was a neighbour of my brother-in-law. There'd be instances where she was that intense in the workplace. It was like, it was cattle stations. She was that good at what she did that anything that went wrong had to be fixed. Didn't matter if it was 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. And for a while there was always her and Wendy, and what they did was used to schedule machines. So Fuji Xerox photocopiers would be sent all over the place. She'd make sure the technician's there, make sure everything's right to go, working with the transport company. So her and Wendy were the two steady workers there at Fuji for some time, and they'd had their third person. And the third person was always like, I wouldn't really know personally because I didn't actually work in the office, but if I ever used to go to the office and say, "Can't Dad, let's go and have a smoke," and that'd happen about 8 times a day or something like that. And there was one lady who kept on saying, Deb would ask her a question, she goes, "That rings a bell. That rings a bell. That rings a bell." So anyway, I go outside, have a smoke, and I go, "How's so-and-so going?" And he goes, "She must have a fucking headache because all she does is hear bells all day," right? And I'm thinking, that's just, I mean, but that's just how Deb was, you know, like, if you ever wanted a friend, like, who'd love your guts and all, that's one of her sayings, "I love your guts," you know, and, you know, she'd always be caring. She's the type of person, you know, she'd go up to a lonely person at a pub and ask them to join her. She had a heart of gold. And like with all people, you know, when you get a bit on in years, you don't keep in contact. You know, it's mainly if you work with somebody or, you know, you're in a relationship with them, or, you know, you don't see them as often as you would, but you know for a fact that if you didn't see Deb for a while, you were still close. Because my partner Denise, who became friends with Deb as well, obviously said one night to me, "Listen, I've got this friend of yours who wants to come and see you. And you haven't seen her for about 5 years."
No, that's not how it went.
Well, whatever. Yeah, anyway, so I kept on asking her, "Who is it? Who is it? Who is it?" And then it was a Friday night. I get home from work, had a shower, thought I'll get everything set up out in the shed, and you know. And then Deb walks in. I go, "What the fuck are you doing here?" She goes, "Oh, fucking thanks a lot, we were before. Thought you would have, you know, put on a bit more of a show than that." Hug, and it was like we saw each other yesterday. We got blind all weekend. I kept complaining, "Oh, Jesus, me chest, me guts, me gut. Shut up and just drink. What's wrong with you?" And I'd go, "Come on, support me a bit." And she'd just start laughing, you know. I think I've just got that kind of face though, but people just laugh when they look at me. But so she's at the house, and then she goes, "Oh, I better go home on a Saturday morning." I go, "Oh, no, bugger it, have a drink." So then we're drinking, and at the time I had 3 dogs. One wasn't mine, but I had him for about 6-7 months, and I felt sorry for the bugger. And even my partner Denise said, you know, he's like he's left out, you know. You got the 2 others that, you know, are your dogs. And we said to her, "Listen, Deb," and I thought this was going to be like a piss take, you know, because, you know, you don't just say, "Do you want a dog?" Because people say, "What the fuck? What, you give me a dog?" And I said, "Look, this bloke, he left the dog here, he's a bum, he's not going to come and get the dog. Do you mind taking the dog?" She goes, "Yeah, bloody oath, I'll take him." I said, "Really?" I thought, "Okay." And it wasn't like I think, "Oh, good riddance," you know. I love the dog too, but I just couldn't. There was too many dogs I had. And she always said, "Oh, you know, I love the Rolling Stones," which is why I'm wearing a Rolling Stones jacket, Deb. There you go, dressed for the occasion for you. And she goes, "That Keith Richards, oh, you know, they'll outlive all of us. They'll be in wheelchairs, they'll find a way to keep them all alive, to keep going. They're always going." And Denise's cousin did a beautiful airbrush for me, oh, it would have been 20 years ago. So Denise just runs into the other garage, grabs the thing, I go, here, it's yours. I said, fucking, I think you better not come over anymore, Deb. Because I'm totally running out of things to give you. And she goes, oh, come on, Wilberforce, you know. It's all right, you won't need that picture. You're a Beatles man anyway. I go, yeah, all right. So she went, that was the last time I actually saw her, even though I've talked to her a few times on the phone since, but I hadn't actually physically seen her since mid-2020. And I said she was living a happy life out here and told me about her new work friends. And she's pretty, you know, she's, as all of you know, she's right into the work, you know. It's like, you know, she'll get the job done. Anyway, Deb, I love you. And condolences to all the family and all the friends that have been close to her in recent times. It's a big loss because she's someone who you'd know that wasn't in the room. So, you know, we all love you and thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dave. Pete, Les, would you like to say something?
Welcome everybody. It was a bit hard, yeah. All I'd like to say is that I met Deb 12 years ago when I first started here, and she's always been a rock star. Loves to dance, loves to party, as I've now noticed with Brad and everyone in that. I'm just going to severely miss her. It was a bit of a shock when I got told the other day at work. Just like to say thanks for everybody. I love you, Deb. Cheers.
Yeah, I think I met Deb at the same time, would have been 12 years ago. Back in Crows Road in the transport office, tiny little office as everyone remembers it. The transport boss at the time was Damien Langdon. I'm not sure if he's here today or not. But I was pretty green those days, made a few mistakes out on the side, done a bit of damage here and there. Got called into the office a fair bit. I was in there one day and Damien's ripping me a new one. And yeah, oh, you always make, you know, he's told me how it is and Deb had enough. And I didn't know her that well at this stage. And suddenly behind me, like I said, tiny office, stands up and says, "That's enough, leave him alone, will you?" Straight away I knew there was someone in my corner, and she was always for us drivers, she was always in our corner. And yeah, so another little story, I know Steve Collier's here too. One day, Steve was obviously the boss that transitioned us over from South Geelong into Crier and the new facility and all the rest, and done a great job, moved on further up into the company. And one day, just a year or two ago, I walked up in the office and said, and I hand out these employee of the month, employee of the quarter, and Deb just got employee of the quarter, and I think she might have had a couple there. I said, "Gee, Deb, we're a couple of us drivers, there's a few others around the place. You've only just got the employee of the quarter now." She says, "Yeah, well, what do you reckon?" Since Steve Collier moved on, I used to give him shit every time he came in here. So, of course I wasn't going to get a bloody employee of the month while he was the boss around here, you know. So that was what she was like. And as everyone's explained, she was told her how it was, and just when she was talking to supervisors, and you walk in the office, you'd be talking to supervisors on the phone, and she'd bang hands with them, and so on, and framers. I ran into the week after she passed, the Friday, delivering single-storey walls of Calcutta at 6:30 in the morning, rock up to a Glenville job, and the chippy's already here, he's got his bloody ute parked in the driveway. I'm going to have to tell him it. Because it was Glenville, and it was Simon, I don't know whether Simon's here today, but everyone that knows Simon, he's a top Glenville framer, and eventually I worked out who it was and unloaded for him, and at the finish I said to him, "Have you heard about Deb?" And he says, "No, what's going on?" And she left the company. She passed last weekend. And he was shocked. And by the way, he said, pass on my condolences to everybody there. And just what he said, you could bang heads with her on the phone, but it would always get sorted out, and usually at the end of the phone call, you get off the phone call and you'd have a smile on your face because of some of the banter that she always had with you, And that was her, it was banter. As Johnny Craig said, he only went up to the office to hang shit on Deb. And that was, we all loved that banter and so on, Yeah, she was, I called her the nerve centre of the transport office, and she was sort of the glue that held it together. And I know Brad's hurting, but there's still glue there, Brad, to go around, mate. So we're all here for you. So, Deb, we're going to have a drink for you.
Thanks, guys. Brad, would you like to say a few words?
I'm not going to be able to speak or tell you any stories. The stories you heard, all awesome. I'd just like to thank everybody for paying their respect and the sympathy towards me and everybody else. It's a big hole left in our eyes now. And she would like us right now to start clinking glasses and have a good time. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Just in closing, as Brad says, well, I'd just like to thank everyone who spoke and obviously attended today. It does mean a lot. It was lovely to hear everyone's stories about Deb and the impact she's had on your life. I'd also like to play a part in everyone that organised this today. I know it's obviously a big feat. There's been multiple people involved in that as well. I do encourage people to stay. Bar, and also we do have a lot of food as well that'll be on the back wall there. Thank you everyone for today. I really appreciate it.
Sound okay? Yeah, it's not too bad. Awesome, good stuff. No, fantastic. Hopefully a few people